just remind everyone to turn off their mics.
Good morning. We'll call to order this Cape Fear Public Utility Authority board meeting for December 10th. We have all members here today. Just a reminder, if everyone make sure when you're speaking to turn on your microphones so you can be audibly heard. Today we have an adoption of our agenda. We have one walk-in item that we need a motion to add, that is a emergency contract services change order.
Motion to add.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
And with that, we'll take a motion to adopt the agenda with that item.
Motion to adopt the agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Next, we'd like to welcome our two new board members, council members Chakima Clinton Quintana and David Joyner. I'll turn over to Donna for the oath.
Ms. Clinton Quintana, if you'll come up to the front, we'll do yours first. Ladies first? Ladies first? Yes, ma'am.
Good luck.
We've done this number two. And then raise your other hand and then repeat after me. I, Chakima Clinton Quintana,
Chakima Clinton Quintana,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and maintain
that I will support and maintain
the Constitution and laws of the United
the
States
Constitution and laws of the United States
and the Constitution and laws
and the
and the Constitution and laws
Constitution and laws
of the State of North Carolina,
of the State of North Carolina,
not inconsistent therewith,
not inconsistent therewith,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and I will faithfully discharge the duties.
of my position as a member of the Cape Fear Public Utility Authority.
I'll just say that one more time.
The duties of my
The
position
duties of my position
as a member of the Cape Fear Public Utility
as a member
Authority.
of the Cape Fear Public Utility.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And if you will sign for me.
Ms. Donna, I appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you,
Mr.
everyone.
Joyner.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Make you sign the document, too.
Yeah.
I, David Joyner,
I, David Bill Joyner,
do solemnly swear that I will support and maintain
do solemnly swear that I will support and maintain
the Constitution and laws of the United
the
States
Constitution and laws of the United States
and the Constitution and laws of the State of North Carolina,
and the Constitution and laws of the State of North Carolina,
not inconsistent therewith,
not inconsistent therewith,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
of my position
of my position
as a member of the Cape Fear Public Utility Authority.
as a member of the Cape Fear Public Utility Authority.
Thank you, sir.
Great,
And if
thank
will
you.
sign. Just sign one copy. Thank you.
Welcome. Look forward to serving alongside both of you. Now that brings us to the next item on our agenda is a resolution for Mr. Waddell. I'll come up to the podium, read it. Mr. Waddell not able to make it today, but I'll read the resolution honoring his service. That whereas the Cape Fear Public Utility Authority is a body politic incorporated by the city of Wilmington and New Hanover County, North Carolina in 2007 to own and operate the water and sewer systems previously owned by the city and county. And whereas Luke Waddell Sr. was appointed by the city of Wilmington as a council representative to the authority in January 2022 and took his oath as an authority member on March 9th, 2022. And whereas Mr. Waddell has served as a member of the authority continuously since that time, and whereas Mr. Waddell has served as a member of the Communications, Sustainability, and Finance Committees, and whereas Mr. Waddell has demonstrated his commitment to the good financial standing of CFPUA and prudent governance of its fiduciary duty to its ratepayers, and whereas Mr. Waddell has supported orderly growth of the system including through his service on the board during the consolidation of Wrightsville Beach water and sewer systems into the CFPUA system. Now therefore, the Cape Fear Public Utility Authority, through its board and on behalf of its employees and customers, do hereby formally recognize and thank Luke Waddell Sr. for his service as a member of the Cape Fear Public Utility Authority this 10th day of December 2025. And and so we need a motion on this resolution.
I move the resolution.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Right, thank you. And thank you, Luke, for your service. Next, we have the 2025 Annual Comprehensive Financial Report.
Good morning. My name is Leanne Bagasala. I'm an audit partner at Malden & Jenkins, and we served as your external auditors for the fiscal year 2025 audit, which is July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2025. And I do apologize for not having your updated signage, but I will get it updated for your next PowerPoint. I'm going to present to you the audit results today, and I did kind of want to mention the audit results this year are a little bit coming in a little bit later than they normally come in, and because that has nothing to do with your finance department at all. This year we had to wait on the federal government to release what's called the Federal Compliance Supplement, and they released it 2 days before Thanksgiving as a nice treat for us auditors. And so it took us a couple days to, after that got released, get things out and issued. And this week we're actually issuing 10 reports. So it's been a lot over the last couple days, and hence my bags under my eyes. So on the presentation today, we're going to go over who your engagement team was, your audit results for the year, which goes over your opinions that you have in your financial statements. We're also going to go through a couple of slides of required communication, and then talk about some things that are coming down the pipeline. And if at any time you have questions, please feel free to stop me. So this slide right here actually depicts who Malden & Jenkins is. It's a little old. We actually just merged with another company called LaPorte, and we now operate in more than 6 states, and we have over 750 employees now. A third of our practice still is focused on government clients, so we serve a lot of government clients throughout the Southeast. We have over 700 clients, government clients. I served as your engagement partner. This is my 4th year on the audit. We also had Tim Lyons serve as your quality review partner, and we had Randolph Brown serve as your senior associate, along with a couple other folks that helped on the team. In the beginning of your financial statements, you'll see our audit opinion. And that opinion, it reads that our responsibility is to perform your audits in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles as well as government auditing standards. We do consider the internal control structure for the purpose of expressing an opinion on the authority's basic financial statements, but not for the purpose of expressing an opinion on the internal controls of the authority. Our objective is to provide reasonable assurance, not absolute assurance, that your financial statements are free of material misstatements. And ultimately, the financial statements are the responsibility of authority's management. In your report on your basic financial statements, you receive an unmodified or a clean audit opinion. That's the highest level of assurance that we can provide that your financial statements present fairly in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. But our responsibility does not extend beyond that report. You also receive 3 other opinions in the back of your financial statements. The first one is what we call a yellow book report, or a review over government auditing standards. In that report, you also received an unmodified or a clean audit opinion, and we basically said there were no material weaknesses or significant deficiencies identified during the audit. Also during the audit, we do have to go in and review some of your federal and state grant funding, and we conducted an audit over 2 programs this year. We did the ARPA program, which is a federal program, and we also did the Drinking Water Wastewater State Reserve program this year, and we issued 2 audit opinions in accordance with the Uniform Grant Guidance as well as the State of North Carolina Single Audit Implementation Act. Both of those opinions, you received an unmodified or a clean audit opinion, and we did not identify any material weaknesses or significant deficiencies. So overall, you received 4 clean audit opinions for the fiscal year 2025 audit, and I don't think it gets any better than that. From a required communication standpoint, these are just things that we need to let you know and remind you every year. Sometimes you see this in the form of a letter, but we do it in our PowerPoint presentation. In the financial statements that you have, there are significant accounting policies within them. Management is the one that's ultimately responsible for picking those policies. They are disclosed in Note 1 of the basic financial statements. In the current year, we did implement 2 GASB standards. One is called GASB 101 for compensated absences, as well as GASB 102 for certain risk disclosures. They did not materially affect your financial statements at all. In Note 1, where you have the policies, those are policies that we do review during the audit, and we didn't find any issues with the policies that the authority has. And we're not aware of the authority engaging in any controversial or emerging issues. Also within the financial statements, you do have to know that part of the numbers in your financial statements are derived by management estimates and judgments. Some of those are actuarially determined and others are based on historic or past trends. We do review all estimates made by management, and we had no issues with those estimates. From a relationship standpoint, we received full cooperation from management. We had no disagreements with the finance team on any accounting matters. As part of the audit, we do require management to sign what's called a management representation letter that basically says all the information that they gave us was complete and accurate to the best of their knowledge. We require that to issue the financial statements. Another fun disclosure is that we are not aware that management has consulted with other accountants. We always ask that throughout the year, if you have any accounting questions, you do come to us, and we've had no issues with that. There were no significant issues discussed with management during the audit related to business condition, plans, or strategies. Yes, we are fully aware of some of the consolidation efforts, but nothing out of the ordinary was discussed this year. From an adjustment standpoint, the books and records that we received from management were clean. We do have one past audit adjustment that we will have for as long as it's material related to implementation of a GASB standard that we did not determine to be material to the authority. From a disclosure standpoint, when we do review the financial statements, we review all the disclosures that are within the financial statements, and we make sure that those are consistent and clear and provide clarity to other information contained in the financial statements. From an information standpoint, though, there is other information included in the financial statements that, in our opinion, does not include the other information, and that's disclosed in our opinion. And the last thing that I have for you that is a required communication is just to let you know that Malden Jenkins is independent of the authority and their management. And that is something that is required to be, as your external auditor, we have to be independent. From a new pronouncement standpoint, y'all are just really caught up. Y'all love to implement standards early, so there's really nothing on the horizon right now to be discussed. But whenever any standards do come up, we'll make sure that management is aware of those and that we're properly implementing them every year. There's a couple GASB projects that are going on, and these are the exact same projects that were going on last year when I presented, so we'll just let you know if anything comes out of those. And the last slide that we have is as part of additional service to our clients. If anyone needs CPE, continuing education, we do provide that free. We usually do it quarterly. It's about a 6 to 8 hour training quarterly that we offer free to our clients. And your group is signed up to get those notifications as part of just additional service that we do have. Does anyone have any questions?
Mr. Chair, I have a question.
Yes.
Thank you very much. I look forward to reading the report when it's distributed to us. I just know that more recently, independent auditors have been also looking at controls around IT, and I was wondering if you could describe what you did with regard to that and the authority.
Sure. So part of our IT review is in the form of just a questionnaire where we're trying to assess what is the IT environment, what's going on, what are the systems that are being used, have there been any cyber attacks, has there been any control failures or notations that management is working on to ensure that your IT platforms and your controls and policies are in place. We did that review during the year and we didn't find anything to note.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Any other comments or questions? Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Might take a
Yeah, go ahead.
point. We apologize, we did not have time to print copies of the report. We do have a digital copy, and we will distribute that digital copy today to you via email, and we will strive to post it on the website today if possible.
Want to share good news like that?
Yep, absolutely. Thank you.
All right, next item on our agenda is approval of the minutes from our November meeting. Dr. Cannon.
Those minutes from, I believe, the 12th are in your packet, and if there are no questions or discussion, we're ready for a motion to adopt and approve those.
Yes, ma'am, so moved. Second.
All in favor? Thank you.
Mr. Chair, just one
Oh,
quick.
sorry. Yep.
One quick, I think it's mainly a typo here, on page 20 of 328. The third paragraph down starts with the phrase, "board members' irrigation rates." I don't want anyone to think that we have special irrigation rates. I think there's a missing verb or something in there.
Discussed, I think.
Discussed, okay, great. So just didn't want to send people down a rabbit hole. Yeah.
I apologize, and I'll fix that.
My pleasure, thank you. It's a move to approve with, move to approve with the change that I mentioned.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you. Public comments, no any speakers today? All right, with that, we'll move to our consent agenda. We have,
Chair,
yes,
could we pull F, please, just for a
pull F.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, sir. Yes, Mr. Zoppel.
Thank you. So I'd like to pull C and H as well for just quick clarifications.
Okay,
Move the consent agenda with the exception of C, F, and H.
Mr. Chair,
yes,
I'd like to move to remove item Roman numeral 9A, the semi-annual HR policy review.
okay.
Thank you.
Dan, you want to make a motion for the remainder of the items?
Yes, move to approve the consent agenda with the exception of the 4 items that have been pulled by board members.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we could start with item A. Oh, you're fine.
I'm scrolling. I would like to, in the removal, to return the policy 2023-98 recruitment and selection to the HR committee, please.
Mr. Chair,
Yeah, second.
if we could we discuss, is this the right time to discuss that a little bit,
Yeah.
that item? I thought it was going to come out in committee reports, but this is essentially the same item.
Correct.
Okay. So if we could direct the board to an item that was adopted back in our committee in November. We had the HR meeting. And Lori, I've got a couple questions for you, if you don't mind. So according to our minutes, and the way I remember it, Jennifer was not there, but the 3 of us were there, and we talked a lot about the healthcare changes to the policies. It's a 50-page document we went through. I don't remember talking about, they struck language to the maximum extent practicable, the panel should reflect the diversity of the community we serve and include representatives from different backgrounds, gender, et cetera. Now, we are on page 46 of 51 of that Now, the onus was on me to completely read through all these documents. It was a 51-page document, and as I recall, our discussion at the committee was that there were a few changes to intern recruitment, and my sense was that there were very minimal changes. And this, to me, I think we all understand is a big deal. And I would have appreciated a discussion about it at the time, and I'm just curious, is that exactly what happened, or am I misremembering it?
So if I might, I will take personal responsibility for that. We try to provide, thank you. We try to provide committee members with a single sheet that kind of lays out, all right, what are the changes? So in the HR committee agenda and in your current agenda, there's a summary sheet that talks about the changes that were made, and that particular wording is called out there. But
Which sheet is that? Is it on the agenda item memo?
yes, it's under item A, so it's page 1 of the download item. And it says, delete last sentence regarding the demographics of the interview panel. The genesis of that move was a concern that there were movements at the state and federal level to particularly identify language that was associated with diversity, equity, and inclusion. And there was some draft language that was floated in the General Assembly that would have shaped how local governments could use that language. And there was some administrative orders, executive orders actually, on the federal level to do the same. So many local governments, including our parent agencies, the city and county, moved to try to remove any language that might be flagged by a state law or a federal audit. Now, that state law was not passed.
So we were premature.
We were.
I would move that we reinstate this language.
The motion on the table is to remove it and send it back to HR committee. It remains unchanged until you change it. So you could, for example, choose not to change this language at the table today. You could choose to send it back to HR to be considered, HR committee, or you could choose to adopt the language. Those are the three options in terms of process.
Adopt the deletion of the language.
Yes, those are the three options you have. You could move to leave it unchanged. You could move to send it back to HR committee, or you could move to change the language.
So why don't we send it back to committee?
Yeah. If that's what the committee would like to do.
Sounds like that's what the board wants to do.
Well, we did have a pretty extensive discussion about a topic that is similar to this at a prior meeting of the committee that I don't believe that you were able to attend.
Okay.
And the thought was during that committee meeting that it was incumbent upon us to make sure that our policies were reflecting the law as it exists, not just with regard to executive orders or potentially passed laws in the state of North Carolina, but also law that has been set as constitutional policy by the Supreme Court. And it is my concern that this language would be not in compliance with that. I am happy to discuss it in committee. We don't have to discuss it right now, but I am in all likelihood not going to be in favor of that. I will vote accordingly, and I understand that there may be votes to the contrary, but I think that at a minimum, we should send it back to the committee and have further discussion about it.
Okay.
I think that's the right. Good? Do we need to? Okay.
Do we need a motion to send it back to committee since it's on the agenda? Okay, thank you.
Okay, so we'll take a motion to take item A off the consent agenda.
Mr. Chair, could you do a quick summary for those who don't sit on the HR committee? What is this offensive language that is in there? Could you just, somebody read it to me?
That's the one I read, but I can read it
Yeah,
again.
read it again, thanks, Jessica.
Hang on, let me pull it up.
To the maximum extent practical, the panel should reflect the diversity of the community we serve and include representatives from different backgrounds, gender, et cetera. Is that it?
Yeah.
That's what we're arguing over?
Yeah.
Yes.
So you're right, you're sorry, that we're discussing, yeah, okay.
No one used the word offensive, no one is arguing. We
Okay, we'll send it
suggested
back
that
for
we send it
discussion.
back to the committee. I think that that's the proper order.
Sure.
May
That's
I,
good.
may I ask a question? If there are no other contested portions of the recommended changes to the policy, from staff's perspective, is it better if we go ahead and pass the portions that are not being discussed currently and just pull this one slice and send it back?
Yes,
Yeah.
that is permissible.
Is
Is that what we're going to do?
We'll take,
Okay.
we'll take a motion to approve all policies with the exception of 2023-98.
Great.
And then, go ahead, take a motion to
So
approve
moved.
those policies.
Second.
And then
But
we'll-
it's not even really all of 2398, it's 2398 and the changes made to provision 4.7.5.
4.7.5, correct.
That's the only thing that
That's
needs
correct.
to be discussed.
So we have a motion for all the rest of the
And a
policies.
second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
And that policy, 2023-98, 4.7.5 will go back to committee. Thank you. So now we'll move to consent agenda item C for discussion.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chappell.
This relates to a conversation that we had at the Finance Committee here. This is the $2.3 million construction contract award to AC Schultes of Carolina Incorporated for the fiscal year 2026 Find It, Fix It Water and Sewer Repairs Project. I just want to point out something that'll come up later in this meeting at our monthly financials. Schultes, for those of you who are not or haven't reviewed the Finance Committee meetings, ended up being the sole vendor for that contract because nobody else, applied for it. And, we sent it out twice and they were selected. I raised the issue of, and those of you who are longtime followers of CFPUA know I have a bee in my bonnet about sole providers and the kind of issues it can bring up, one of which is bringing on contractors who then, at a lower rate, get the job and then have the potential for change orders to kind of raise it up to where they knew they needed to be. And later on in our packet, I guess on page 300 there in our part of our monthly financials, Schultes is noted as having a $153,000, $153,000 contract. I got that backwards. It's only a $78,000 contract. They had one change order for $153,000, and then prior to that, a second change order for $205,000. I'm not saying this is a pattern or a trend, and I'm sure there's very significant reasons as to why. But I just wanted to raise this red flag again about bringing on sole vendors and then watching out for the change orders as they come along. Yeah. Ken.
So, my apologies, there's a lot of moving pieces here.
Yeah.
Because we have something called the Find It, Fix It contract, which is planned, proactive work. And then we have something called the Emergency Repair contract, which is reactive repair work. So for this particular item, there was actually multiple bidders, and AC Schultz was the low bidder.
Okay, I conflated those two in there, yes, thank you.
But I believe the concern you raised at the table was we have a long working history with one of the other providers. And now we're moving, because of the low bid aspect,
Right.
to a new Find It, Fix It contractor. So I went back and I talked to staff about this in particular, and it's staff's opinion that we have enough experience with this contractor to be comfortable moving over for this year. That they've done enough work with us on individual capital projects and in prior annual contracts that we're comfortable moving that over.
Again, just raising the warning flag on that, and I appreciate that further clarification on that. I got nothing against Schulte's at all.
And to confuse things even more, the item on your table that we're going to add to Executive Director Report number 3 is actually a walk-in emergency amendment to the emergency contract. It's this year. So that's why it's so hard to follow. There's a lot of moving pieces. Thank you for your patience on that.
But that's with state utility, right? They walk in?
Yes.
All right.
And thus the linkage, right? Because we're moving from one contractor to the next.
That's correct. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Motion to approve item C.
So moved?
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, with that, we'll move to consent agenda item F.
So my question on this was, if we could just have a brief discussion and a renewal of the explanation of where this $17+ million came from, what we're authorized to use it for. And I'm a little nervous that we're building a bridge to nowhere if we can't get people to hook up. So I just thought it would be a quick review of, I know this is the design and build part of it, we're early on, but I just want to have a brief discussion on where the money came from. So it's number F, it's 17 million that the state gave us to help with connections to underserved well areas,
So-
partly related to contamination, partly related to just equity, but I haven't been a part of the discussions in so long, not being on long-term finance or anything, or long-term planning. I just wanted to get a review of what the plan is for that money.
So I've asked Kevin Morris to come forward to give his thoughts. I'll take a real quick crack at summarizing. Through the actions of people on this board, there was active lobbying for special funding, special appropriations, to acquire money to extend water lines to county residents who have contaminated wells. Our county leadership actually took the first step by offering a $500,000 bridging grant, and that was spent in the Rock Hill community. And then our delegation brought forward $18 million to foster that project. And then beyond that, we acquired, I believe, around $3 million in EPA direct grants. And then we've recently been awarded another $6.4 million in EPA grants or state grants dependent upon EPA approval. So the total's getting close to 28 million from this activity. The intent was to extend these water lines to people who are at risk. The problem we have is, one, selecting where the water lines go, and two, we can't require people to connect. So we're having to build a process where we have to figure out where are the people who are going to connect and where we're going to get our most bang for the buck. And that's where this contract comes in.
One more quick sidebar. So these funds are restricted to infrastructure only. I know we got different pots of money we're drawing from, and I'm wondering if the restrictions are always infrastructure or if connection fees are potential. So that's kind of what I wanted to address today.
Right.
Like, where are we in terms of, because it costs $6,000 to hook up as a homeowner?
It does. So all of the construction and connection fees are paid by all of the grants that we have acquired so far. So
what?
From the county grant, from the, what's called the emerging contaminants for at-risk communities grant, from the special appropriation, from the, what is that last grant?
There was a,
Yeah, Bernard Allen. So we had 4 grant sources. And we've been able to work out a process where it's soup to nuts. So their connection fees are covered.
okay.
The line on their private property is covered. The connection on the public side is covered by the grant. The only thing that the property owner has to pay is the reoccurring monthly
Okay.
water bill. And that's been the biggest barrier.
Because they have a well, so they're not used to
So
having a
they're
water
not used to
bill.
paying a water bill. So, and again, we can't require connection. So where do we install these lines where we get the most good? And that's where this contract comes in.
Can I just make one comment before you answer that? It would have been interesting, I think, if you, in the narrative, you'd have pointed out some of the other grants that related to this contract, and that the only one that was pointed out was the $17 million one. But So it makes a big difference. So if the narrative could have addressed that, I think it would have been much
In the
clearer.
paperwork?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank
It
you
would
for
help
that
me.
advice. Thank you for that advice. Apologies for the incomplete story. We have so many moving parts there. A big part of this contract is, in my opinion, we don't really have the resources to manage all of these grants that are coming in. We're stressing ourselves. So our staff is rushing at each meeting to put together these items and get them on the agenda. And sometimes we know the narrative and we don't get it out there enough. Thank you
Mr.
for that
Chair.
advice.
Yes.
So you're telling me that there is no cost to the customer to switch over from well service to public utilities? Do we know how many that are objecting this transfer?
Well, the part of this process, part of this grant is to try to get out there and identify those that will be willing, the willing souls.
Okay.
Again, I'm taking all of Kevin's thunder because his team have done the amazing work. Gary McSmith, who couldn't be with us today, and team have done amazing work to get this money. Kevin, would you like to take over?
Well, you've done a great job of laying the groundwork there. There in your board packet, there are a series of maps that show the neighborhoods. There's 8 neighborhoods, and they're kind of water deserts. We have water lines that run past them, but not through the neighborhoods. And what you'll see in those maps are some color-coded dots where the PFAS chemicals have been detected. This project was originally brought to the board last September, and the board authorized us to use the design-build method to extend the lines. Subsequently, we got 4 teams. We had 4 proposals come in from teams. We selected what we feel is a very good team of T.A. Loving and Withers Ravenel for the work, and we did the hard work of trying to negotiate with them. This is not just running water lines into one neighborhood or 2 neighborhoods, it's 8 neighborhoods. And so there's a lot of detail and a lot of groundwork that has to be done. So the scope of work that we negotiated with them for $1,962,772.50 is to get us through 75% design. Right now, I went through each of those 8 properties and I counted up the ones that we have identified adjacent to the lines that we're proposing. And to answer your question, Commissioner, it's about 350 that we've identified so far. Now, Ken brought up a very good point. We can't compel people. We can't force people to connect. The water line can run right past the house, and if they're concerned about that recurring perpetual utility bill, they may choose not to avail themselves of the opportunity. But our hope is that as this design progresses, and we get the opportunity to knock on doors and to meet with folks. And I know Commissioner Zappel met us, we were up in the Rock Hill area at the St. James AME Church for a PFAS health fair, and there's a lot of people approached us and were really excited about this project. So I think there's community support for it, and that's the challenge for us. We have a 10-month duration. When you approve this, we'll be off and running, and in 10 months we should get to the point where we're coming back we'll have the cost estimates, and we will understand, can we afford to do it all, or do we have money left over even? And we'll also hopefully have commitments from residents that are just excited about it.
This is important work. I definitely agree with you in that we need to get some of these residents converted over from the choice of drinking contaminated water to our lovely clean water with CFPUA. So I'm all in on that. I'll do what I can to assist.
Mr. Chair.
I'm sorry, William, did you want to make a comment?
Just so I have my turn, you go ahead.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to put a little context for our new members here also. You've had a lot thrown at you here, but keep in mind that CFPUA basically serves within the city limits. anything outside of that, and then there are some exceptions on that, is, basically in the unincorporated county. Since 2017, when somebody identified PFAS in our area here, I'm sorry, Vaughn, for those of you who don't know, was a reporter at the time and broke the story, we've become aware that those people on wells are, in many cases, drinking contaminated water. So we've been working diligently since that period to try and find ways to increase or expand our distribution system into the unincorporated county. And that's part of what you were looking at here today. All those 8 areas are in the county, not they're outside the city limits. So this is just, one more step along the way to try and provide all citizens of New Hanover County with safe, clean drinking water. I hope that helps some. William?
Well, since we brought this one back on the table, I just wanted to point out, while I vote in favor of it, my biggest objection has been the 15% design builder's fee added to other costs. And they're represented as being overhead and profit, whereas they do have as part of this a significant amount of their own labor funded here. So I think 15% is excessive. It's been discussed in committee several times about the fact that this is the way contractors have been pushing it and to get this percentage up. So I think when we decide to go with a design-build approach, we need to consider getting some better documentation of what makes up, quote, their design builder's fee. And we could require a breakdown submitted of that fee, and I think that's something that should be considered in the future.
Agreed. We're not enamored with the 15%. That's been a topic of conversation for utility directors across the state. We're paying a premium, and we recognize that. We also, as staff, see that we don't have the internal resources to move this forward, nor do we believe that we can upstaff in a timely manner that also makes fiduciary sense to try to take this in-house. So we've had this funding now for a couple of years. This was some of our initial funding, and we're losing value on that funding through inflation alone. So we are recommending moving forward with the contract as is, but we are going to study every progressive design build contract going forward, and some of those will probably return to the traditional design bid build.
Thank you.
I just have a quick question. Kevin, you said that the red dots represent PFAS wells, but on the legend it says those are proposed water service connections to include private side installation. So
There's a different map that's been provided.
Oh.
There's that in previous board packets.
I'm sorry, I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
I was
It's just-
interested to
It's not
see.
this map, it was a different
Okay,
map.
I'm sorry, I don't have the figure
Oh,
to.
it's okay, I was just curious because I was looking for the wells and I didn't
It's in a
understand.
previous board packet, and every plot has a,
And then just a comment is, I think as part of outreach, another point to these homeowners is that it could increase the value of their property should they accept these lines.
Yeah.
And then the final point to let them know is this is a one-time offer. If they don't accept this opportunity for grant funding of the connection on their side and their fees, if they come back in the future after the project closes, they will have to pay to extend the line themselves and pay the connection fees. So Beth, our Deputy Executive Director, Beth Eckert's team is supporting engineering on this. We're going to do our best to get as many resources out there in the community to tell the story. Any help you can provide is most welcome.
Any other comments, discussion, or take a motion to approve the item?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, our last item on the consent agenda for discussion is item H.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It's a quick clarification. I've seen in different sources here, it's about the twin 48s that go down last leg of raw water to Sweeney. I've seen them noted as over 100 years old. I've also seen them noted as being installed in 1993, making them 32 years old. So if you just, so we can get on the same page of what we're talking about, I'm sure there's a logical explanation, but those are big differences between the two numbers.
Right. Let me see if I can untangle this knot. Our original raw water system that tapped into Kings Bluff was provided to us by the city of Wilmington, installed in the 40s. And it connects to some lines that were removing water from the Cape Fear and the North Cape Fear 100 years ago. So there are components of that original 1943 system that are 100 years old. For the new folks at the table, we receive water from from the Kings Bluff on the Cape Fear from two separate systems. One we own, and one that is owned by a partner agency, the Lower Cape Fear Water and Sewer Authority. A couple of years ago, we made a conscious decision to move away from investing and replacing that older infrastructure and instead partnering with the Lower Cape Fear Water and Sewer Authority to parallel and upsize the regional infrastructure. We received when I say we, the region received $53 million in special appropriations for that upsizing and paralleling project. Our contribution to that project is actually this low-interest loan that we acquired for the original older system that the state let us flip over to that regional system. So that's a lot of moving pieces. But the bottom line is we're getting a larger, paralleled system, mostly funded by others, out of this process, and this is our contribution to it.
So are the twin 48s 32 years old, or are they 100 years old?
So the paralleling that we're doing now is 32, installed in the 90s. The twin 48s themselves have components that are 100 years old. So the answer is yes to both. We're moving the money from the older line project to the newer line project, which is Lower Cape Fear.
Clear as mud.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Those two that we can see as we drive up 421, and we look over to our right, if we're going north on 421, we see two pipes that go that last section. How old are those
100
pipes?
years, and then the age, actually, the 100-year infrastructure connects to infrastructure that was installed in 43. So that's obviously less than 100 years.
Yeah.
But yes, what you're looking at in that area is our oldest infrastructure.
Great, thank you. Move to approve the item.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, that concludes our consent agenda.
Moving.
Any other items for discussion? All right, we'll move on to new business, administrative reports. Attorney's report, Nicolette.
All right, so 3 items for my attorney's report. First, I want to thank everyone for their efforts regarding the Fuquay Arena IBT. Thank you especially to Ken, Vaughn, and Commissioner Zappel. Commissioner Zappel last night was in Raleigh in his capacity as both a New Hanover County Commissioner, a board member of the Lower Cape Fear Water and Sewer Authority, and a board member of CFPUA. This upswell of support from our Lower Cape Fear region municipalities in the area, we have over 20 municipalities supporting our efforts, is really impactful, and we are pushing this every day. So I want to thank everyone for your advocacy, for your efforts, for everything that your organizations are doing for this effort. Yes, Councilmember Twinner.
Thanks. While we're on this topic, can you just, I know that we're fighting this and we don't want this to happen and we're doing a really good job of mobilizing down here. Can you maybe explain for us why somebody upriver would be making this request? Like, in their mind, why is this necessary?
Ken, do you want to elaborate as a former EMC member?
Yeah.
So the Triangle region is one of the 2 fastest growing regions in the state. They published their planning document for water supply last month. The entire region and all 16 water providers in it are going to need 50 million gallons of additional water supply in what they call the near to midterm. And then the total is 150 million gallons. Unfortunately, those communities were founded not on major rivers, they were founded on railroad spurs. So there are few water resources in the region, two primary, Falls Lake and Jordan Lake. Falls Lake being in the Neuse River Basin, that's a federal project, and then Jordan Lake being in the Cape Fear. Much of the need is actually in the Neuse River Basin. So Neuse River utilities look with envy to our water supply. And when they run the numbers, it is more cost effective for them to acquire the water and discharge it into the Neuse River, so we no longer have a chance to use it downstream, than it is to return it to the Cape Fear. So it's a dollars and cents argument. What we have been trying to do is to tell our neighbors upstream that we are more than willing to share, but they have to return the water as a shared resource, and they have to return it clean enough to where we can use it. So that's been our position for probably 20 years.
So this is largely driven by population growth in the triangle?
Oh, yes.
And industrial super sites up there.
Oh, yes.
I mean, and the state of North Carolina has actively pursued manufacturing operations up in those counties. So it's not just population growth. It's population growth and jobs.
Okay. Thank you for that context.
Absolutely. Second, I just wanted to reiterate the order we got in the Comores case recently regarding Comores' motion to seal the order, saying that all of the documents relating to our motion for summary judgment are not to be sealed. So all of the 25,000 pages of documents are publicly accessible. People are free to go on to PACER, to go to the Eastern District of North Carolina Federal Court Systems site and review those pages as are available and see everything that is out there with our filings that we filed jointly with Barron and Budd. So that was a great order, a great victory for us by Judge Dever, and we're grateful for that. Third, Donna and I are in the middle of planning a board retreat for after the holidays. Tentatively, 2 items that we're toying with to be on the agenda would be breakfast with our delegation, if we can coordinate that to be on the same day. If not, it would be a different day. The second would be a litigation update for our pending litigation cases, which would also include a Comores update. But what I would like from you would be dates that work best for you and topics you would like addressed, because I want this to be the most productive retreat for you. And so if there's anything of particular interest for you, please let me know, and we'll make sure to put that on the agenda. Other than that, I do have 2 very brief closed session items. Promise.
Nicolette?
What time, are we talking about January?
January, early February.
Should we just, if people are out of town, should we just submit that to you so you can?
Yes, please.
For early consideration, if other board members agree, I'd really like an overview or an understanding of how our collections and disconnection process works. That's been an item that we've discussed, and also to what extent there's aid or help for people should they need it.
And our billing structure. I think it's good to review billing structure and customer type and that fixed fees and volumetric, all that basic math. It's good to review. Thank you.
If I could add in there also, I think those are, having like a breakfast meeting or a meeting with their delegation is always good, and I think it's great to interface with them, but that's a different meeting than a board retreat. So I'm advocating, I guess, for both somehow in there.
Okay.
I think we need them both, but bringing people in who don't have a background to talk what we just, were suggesting, I don't think it's as productive to have them all there.
Then we can have it as 2 different sessions.
Yeah, thank you.
We had gently floated the idea of a single section, being mindful of your time, and that we could separate the topics. So we would talk about your legislative agenda in the breakfast. and then talk about your strategic initiatives in your retreat.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
So we just need topics and dates from board members.
Yeah, days that would work best for you.
Okay. Thanks, Nicolette.
due date, or should like those?
Earlier the better, but no, I'm not going to place a due date on you. If you could get it to me before the holidays, that would be fantastic.
Oh, I'll put a due date out there. By next Wednesday, please. I'm an engineer. I got to have dates.
Can someone circulate an email?
I will.
Yeah, Nicolette, this is, like the impossible herding of cats kind of thing, especially in dates. If I were to throw out Friday, the January 16th, as a starter, that's all, would that be appropriate?
It would be, and I will do a doodle poll to make sure that everyone is available
for me.
for that.
Okay.
Great, just to, no, you get it. Thank you.
Yes.
It will not work for me.
Okay.
We will find something that works for the majority.
Yes.
And we'll put that date on there.
All right, thank you, Nicolette. We'll move on to Executive Director's Report. Ken?
So, before you, and for the new folks, we offer up reoccurring reports for your consideration. These are staff-derived. Some of these reports have been part of the organization for many, many, many years. They include the Key Indicators Report, the Safety Report, the Environmental Report, an update on the board's strategic plan. So this is the board's strategic plan. And then we have a special report that is kind of time-bound on economic development projects. So what I do at this time is offer up the opportunity for any board member to call out a question about those 5 reports. And then every quarter, there's actually a 6th report on all capital projects. So are there any questions regarding the executive director's reports?
Yes, sir. Under key indicators, I have a question relative to the wastewater plant flows for north side, as you'll see on page 210. Well,
Kevin or Craig, either one, would you come forward to speak on that?
What's the question?
the question.
Yeah, what's the question?
Okay. I was waiting for him.
Okay.
I think, Mr. Commissioner, you were really impressed with the presentation and thought maybe it deserved wider, a larger audience. Is that what the direction?
You're jumping to my question further in the agenda.
Okay.
But this graph,
Oh, key indicators, okay.
all right, would you like to look at it while?
Yes, please.
Is there a particular item on the graph that has drawn your attention?
Well, what I want to ask is, this shows, the graph shows the permitted capacity at 16 million gallons per day. And then it shows the average monthly flow that varies from month to month, as well as showing the peak flow. But my question is, when we're considering, this goes to later on, when we're considering the fact that when we get to 80% of capacity, of permitted capacity, we need to start the design process for upgrading the plant. So given this graph, where are we in that, in determining what that actual monthly or whatever our flow is right now? How do we?
Okay, so.
What is that?
So the state of North Carolina has rules to help utilities capacity plan to ensure that we don't run out of capacity because, of course, it takes years to design and construct wastewater plant projects. Additionally, you got to line funding up. And so the rules that they have established are that when you reach 80% of your design capacity, you have to have started your design process for that capacity expansion. And when you hit 90%, you need to be in construction. And so now that's the, I would consider that a worst case. You don't want to wait until you're at 90% of capacity to start construction. Yes.
Yeah, but we're going to get to that under the part of the long-range planning report.
So you're looking for the actual date?
No,
So-
I'm looking at where are we right now?
Well, 80% of the current Southside 12 million gallon a day capacity would be 9.6 million gallons a day, I think. I'm doing math in my head.
Where are we on north
Where
side?
are we today on the north side plant?
As far as the capacity goes?
As far as,
So I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Where's it tracking? It's growing about 2.5%, about 800 gallons a day, about 300,000 gallons a year, about 1.5 million gallons over a 5-year period. We have a presentation that we're going to show in January that will did it go to long-range planning?
It did go to long
Okay.
range. It's in
So
the
we weren't
packet.
prepared to share it today because of the length of your agenda, but we're prepared in January to put that presentation forward. And the punchline is that there's some projects that we need to do within the wastewater collection system to flip flows to Southside, so you don't have to expand Northside until 2043 or later.
2050.
51.
Yeah.
Yes. That's the punchline. But with your permission, we'll bring that forward in January.
Okay.
It was a really
But
good
this was-
presentation in long-range planning.
Yeah.
That I think maybe
That-
answers that question.
Well,
Yeah.
I was just, I'm
Go
sorry,
Deans.
Yeah.
but, oh, never mind. You start, where are we today? Today,
What's the number today?
yeah. So that's all.
I think it's 9.99, according to the graph. That's where we are on an average, with a peak at 11.09. 80% of 16 million is, I
That
don't know, what,
was
12 million?
9.99 was for the month of November.
Oh, I see. You're looking
On
for
average.
December, yeah.
So,
And we have to go off the peak month, right, if I remember correctly. So Craig, do you have some numbers?
I don't have any numbers for you, but it's average annual for the 80% rule. So we'd have to average the whole year to get that number within the 80%. So if we did use the 9.9, that's only 61% of our actual capacity. So we'd have some wiggle room, of course, growth and everything else to be comfortable at Northside right now.
so the answer is that as far as compliance is concerned, we would take everything on this green line
Yes, sir.
and average it.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for that.
And then the red line is the peak. Of course, our peaking factor is 2.5. So our 16 MGD times the 2.5, which is what we can handle on a peak event.
All right, thank you.
Okay. And if you will connect with Kevin and Craig after the meeting, if there's any further clarification, we'll put it in the weekly update.
Okay. I can do the math now, thank you.
Thank you.
251 apparently.
Thanks. Just two very brief yahoos, I'll call them, on the key indicators. Page 201, the days billed charges outstanding. This past month was at 31.2 days. That's the lowest it's been in 12 months. So great job. And on page 205, the vacancy rate, that's for our employees, is also at the lowest it's ever in the past 12 months or the past year, which means that our employees are happy and they're staying here. One way to look at it, which I prefer to do. So thank you and congratulations to the staff for both of those.
Credit to HR and the hiring managers.
Mr. Chair, also I just had a quick question on the strategic plan update when we're finished with the key indicators.
Good. You want to
Go
go ahead
ahead.
if there's no
Yeah.
other comments?
Sorry, it's, on page 227, in reference to the infrastructure reliability and product quality portion of the strategic plan, it notes that there are 10 miles of the 54-inch pipe in the new redundancy pipe that's going in. There is much more than 10 miles. So it's just, I don't know if it was a typo or there was another thought in there. There's, I think, a total of 28 miles. We're paying a lot of money between Lower Cape Fear, the state, all the money, and the county, mind you, being put into it. So if we could update that to reflect the reality. It's a lot of money and a really, really important. And also, again, like a broken record here, there is no funding for the final 3 miles, which is what will connect this brand-new pipe that comes down from Sweeney's Bluff to our Sweeney water plant. And I just do not want to lose the momentum that we've gotten to bring the pipe all the way down, and we need to get the last 3, or I saw on here, they call it 5 miles. It's that last section we don't even have money for the design, and yet I note that we're moving forward with the design. So that's the second part of this question. How are we paying for that? Because we really, really need it.
I'm glad you asked. So, we've been working with Congressman Rouser for a number of years to piggyback on a Corps of Engineers funding mechanism to close that gap. So within the federal budget that was proposed by the House was somewhere between $750 and $1.5 million. It's a little bit in flux. To CFPUA to fund the initial engineering activities with the Corps of Engineers under this WARDA, I can't remember the exact section of the Water Resource Development Act. So I actually have sitting on my to-do list a letter to the colonel at the Wilmington District looking to close this loop and start this. It's going to be a long process to have the Corps review this project, have the Corps acknowledge it's a project that needs to be done, and then have the Corps lobby on our behalf for up to 75% funding of that closed loop. So I expect this is going to be a 5-year plus activity. But the end goal is to get 75% of that last line segment paid for through federal funding. And keep in mind that, yes, we don't have that last leg of redundancy, but we're getting a lot of resiliency in the 11 or so miles that are being installed now at the cost of about $61 million, 53 of which was paid for by somebody else.
Right, so who's paying for the design of the last 3 or 5 miles right now?
We're making the assumption that we're going to get it through the efforts of our lobbyists and the adoption of the federal budget. But if not, then we're going to have to pay for it ourselves.
So that's how the engineers who are doing it are being paid by the ratepayers at this point?
Right, and we actually haven't moved forward with an engineering project. We have it as a placeholder, waiting for federal funding.
We really, really need this last section. I know you know that. I'm just saying it out loud for the benefit of our new board members, et cetera. And Mr. Chair, thank you very much. The last item on that, on page 228, it notes that the GAC optimization has been completed. What is the cost for, I guess, this past year, the past 12 months?
If I might ask Craig to come forward, Craig Wilson. And if we're not prepared to answer fully, we will write it up in the weekly update. One of the things for the new members to note is at these reports, this is something of a softball game. Sometimes we can catch the ball, sometimes we have to ask for forgiveness and fill in the blanks on your weekly update the following Friday. So Craig, can you catch it, or do we need to pump?
I'll probably follow up with a better answer, but to give you an idea, operationally, we spend about $4.5 million per year per fiscal year.
Could you explain, again, for the benefit of our two new
Yeah,
members?
so every exchange costs about $395,000, plus we have a makeup. So every time we do a makeup, a regeneration, there's some of the product that is lost. So we have about 15% of that makeup. So it ends up costing about $450,000 per exchange. And we estimate anywhere from 9 to 10 exchanges per year based off of the breakthrough of the PFAS.
And what are we exchanging?
The GAC, the granular activated carbon.
And how many vaults are there?
There's 8, and so we do 10 a year. They go about 220 days before they have to get it regenerated.
So a big box, big,
Like a
20 by
swimming
20
pool.
by 40.
Like a swimming pool.
Like a swimming pool filled with GAC, granulated activated carbon. It has to be removed after 200 and plus.
20 days, roughly.
220 days, and then replaced with that. That's what the optimization, the GAC optimization is. So the big lift was to get the facility built, but we're talking about annual operating costs. You just heard around $4 to $4.5 million. This comes into play when, of course, the suit that we have against Chemours was not just, what we lost, in one shot. It's the continuing costs, which sound like $4.5 to $5 million a year. That's a part of our suit. Nicolette, correct?
That is correct.
Yeah.
Does it sit empty while we're waiting for it to return, or do they have?
Yeah, so when they remove it, it sips into about 60 days is our turnaround for the regeneration. They can do it a little bit quicker, it just depends on their factory.
But they don't, it's not like a service, they don't come in with a new.
No, unfortunately. We
We're
don't
stuck
have
with
a
our
single-
own carbon.
Yep.
And it looks like coal.
Yes,
It's
it
dust, basically, right?
Mhm.
Are you, I had a question on something else if you're done.
Yes, I'm done, yeah.
Super. So this is just a quick, I wanted to draw our new members' attention to the residential disconnections section. It's page 11 in the Finance Department report. And I had a quick request, just admin-wise. We can't see those white numerals on the disconnects that are reconnected within one day because they're white and they sort of fade out. Do you mind just switching them to a different color in the further reports? And, this isn't something we're proud of. We go out of our way to protect affordability and to we have really good repayment plans with our customers. Things have really changed since the pandemic. But we want to hold ourselves accountable. So every month, there's between 70 and 170 families, 180 families who cannot come up with the money to reconnect once they're disconnected. So in this chart, you'll see all these blue columns are folks that said, oh my gosh, my water just got disconnected. I got to scramble. And they're able to come up with the money. And sometimes it just happens because people are disorganized. It's human nature, right? We always have this discussion, and somebody around the table says, I almost got disconnected because I didn't see my bill. But anyway, so those orange columns, we differentiate. Those are the folks that are going to stay disconnected for some period of time. So, and we just like to try and keep an eye on it, and we're always fighting for assistance, federal grants, state grants, whatever we can do, and local resources as well, which we've intermittently worked with our local institutions to try to get a recurring fund to protect. This is life-saving services that we're providing. It's not new shoes or, a brand name of some sort of food item. It's life-saving services. So we try to hold ourselves accountable by looking at this number every month.
Does cost to reconnect vary?
Well, I hope we'll go through all of this again at our January meeting, but if someone wants to talk about the reconnect.
If we might, allow us to bring forward an educational presentation on that and tie it to the way our business model works. So it's almost impossible to separate how we disconnect, how we treat our customers from how we manage our business. So we'll bring that together to you either as a individual update or as part of your retreat.
Thank you.
When you bring that, one piece of information that I think would be useful to me on this is looking at the folks in orange who are not reconnecting same month. Where do they go in this data the next month? Like, how are we visualizing that?
Absolutely. Thank you.
Any other comments?
So we do have an action item added at the table. I will, with your permission, I would like to invite Robert Daltrey, Assistant Operations Director, forward to speak on this action item.
So this item is for a $750,000 emergency construction services change order number 2 with state utility contractors. The background on this is staff were evaluating the gravity sewer line along Pine Hollow Drive, found 2 sanitary sewer manholes that had significant deterioration, structural concerns. Collection staff mobilized on November 20th prior to Thanksgiving to set up a bypass system and start cleaning and inspection. After inspection, staff determined the manholes were structurally compromised and placed the upper Pine Hollow outfall on bypass as of December 5th. There's a map attached that has a photo of the manhole in question and location of the areas in question. The bypass system will remain in place with pump operations until repairs are made. The estimated cost for the scope of the work is $750,000. This includes materials, equipment, labor to purchase and install 2 complete 5-foot diameter armor rock liner system manholes. The estimate also includes the bypass pump system rental, pump watch services, as well as the use of truck mats to protect residential driveways from damage during equipment access. All preliminary work has been completed, including residents' notifications, easement surveys, which have been staked accordingly. This change order will also extend the contract 90 days to be able to make all the necessary repairs and site restorations. Cape Fear Public Utility Authority utilizes an emergency construction services contract to facilitate emergency repairs to water and sewer infrastructure. The contract requires the contractor to respond within 2 hours after notification of any instance. Includes fixed unit prices established through a competitive bidding process and ensures adequate insurance provisions are in place. The contract was competitively bid and awarded to State Utility Contractors Incorporated on December the 19th, 2023 for a 1-year term in the amount of $780,000. The contract was renewed for an additional 1-year term for 2025 for an additional 1-year term of $780,000. Change order 2 will be for the scope associated with the Pine Hollow manhole replacement. And the original contract pricing was $780,000, and we went over change order number 1. Funding is going to come from the capital improvement project, Pine Hollow's emergency manhole replacement, and it has sufficient funds. Our strategic goal is supported by environmental stewardship and protection, and we would recommend that you approve Kenny to authorize this change order.
Any questions?
Robert, thanks for that presentation. How old are these 2 manholes?
These 2 manholes go back to the Bernards Creek outfall era, Whiskey Creek. So we're talking mid-'80s, early '90s era.
35 years.
Yes. And upstream of this location, there's 2 force mains that dump into a manhole. One is from Whiskey Creek Pump Station, and the other is from Fox Run Pump Station. So you have forced sewer coming in directly upstream, and then it flows gravity to Bernards Creek.
So you're getting right to where I was curious as to why are we seeing such deterioration on these 2? You think it's from the force of the wastewater flowing in?
It's from off-gassing of hydrogen sulfides over the years from those force mains. Now, we chemically treat with our OCCP system in these areas system-wide now, but previously to the merger of CFPUA, this was a New Hanover County area, and it was limited on the amount of chemical dosing we done to pre-treat.
And so we're paying for some lack of maintenance over the years. We just caught up with over the last 9 years or since we consolidated. Is that what you're saying?
You could say that, yes, because it's definitely the flow, and the more you increase flows, the more you see this. So you have to stay on top of it by adjusting dosage rates and everything in these force mains that are dumping to gravity systems.
Robert, I'm sure you're ahead of this now. Have we looked at other pockets where we would have the same conditions to get ahead of this?
Yes, and we're actually in the process of doing a force main study right now, but we also, our OCCP system, we monitor discharge locations for hydrogen sulfide gas, to determine when those levels are increasing and when they're, our operators make those adjustments. Our contractor makes those adjustments to keep those levels in check.
So the acronym is, and forgive me if I'm not getting it perfect, this is odor control and corrosion control. So it's a sad reality that many utilities fail to appropriately put preventative maintenance chemicals in their sewer systems, and now are suffering early failure of their wastewater system. Raleigh, where I came from, saw early failure of a $100 million outfall. We're doing a lot of work now, thanks to Robert and his team, to try to make sure that doesn't happen for the next generation, but we will have to catch up and replace some of this infrastructure that wasn't appropriately managed in terms of preventative maintenance.
Well, and also too, I mean, technology has come a long way, and so like new projects, we're identifying where this gas could be a potential in using polymer manholes and new products that have been developed to prevent these, legacy type issues. So it's a dosing thing, but it's also, a new construction thing to make sure we're staying ahead of the curve with technology. So.
Thank you, and thank you for your work, Robert.
Thank you.
Motion to approve unless there's other questions.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Robert.
Thank you.
And that concludes the executive director's report and work items.
All right, thank you, Ken. We'll move on to the committee reports. Executive committee met on December the 3rd. The minutes are in the packet. Anybody's comments or questions? We didn't have any action items there. Moving on to long-range planning committee, Mr. Hackney.
Long-range planning met 12/3/25. We had one action item where we approved the calendar year 2026 changes to the technical standards. They were in the consent agenda. We had a presentation from Garney Construction where they give us progress report on the 54-inch raw water pipeline project and their river crossing off 421. And then, as we discussed earlier, we had a update and a presentation on the wastewater flows and strategies to shift parts of our wastewater collection system from north to south. I would encourage everybody to look at that presentation.
Yeah.
It has implications for not only long-range planning, it's going to have implications for finance. We had a good discussion with Mr. Zeppel at that meeting, so I think it'd probably be something that's going to be front and center at one of our retreats. But it's a wheel, it's a circular problem. It's going to have to do with rates. A lot of this has a lot to do with the Southside plant that we're under construction with now. So it would behoove us all to be familiar with this issue going forward.
And we had actually planned on providing that presentation. It's rather lengthy. At my discretion, we pulled it. We will place it on the January agenda if it's a reasonably short agenda. Otherwise, it'll go part of a work session. But we agree as staff, you need to understand the engineering dynamics of that issue.
It's a great presentation staff put together, really. Yeah.
So that's all I have.
Thank you. Move on to Finance Committee. Mr. Smith.
Okay, thank you. Find out where I am.
If I may, John, would you for monthly financials?
I was going to, I guess, defer to the will of the board. I know this meeting's gone on a little longer than usual, so I'm willing to present as much as the board would like, I could answer specific questions, or we could move on. I'll be open to whatever the will of the board is.
I think it's worth just a brief overview. I mean, if you kind of go through the slides.
Certainly.
A little short.
Okay, so good morning. Let me see if I can. And welcome to the new board members. Your fellow board members will let you know that this will soon become your favorite part of the board meetings. So, this never works. Okay. Very quickly, I wanted to start off. This is really, we lead the finance presentation with a presentation on our financial position or our fund balance for a reason. In my opinion, it's really the most important thing to look at when we're talking about finance. And really, if you think of a balance sheet, right, assets minus your liabilities is your fund balance or your equity notion. That's exactly what this is. There are categories to that fund balance. There's different restrictions. We can't just spend it all. It's not spendable resources. So that's what these different categories are all about. And we follow a certain accounting standard to actually come up with what these different categories are. So this total pie is kind of a snapshot, right? It's as of October 31st, 2025, and the pie is equal to the sum of all of these categories. Are restricted, okay, and how that category is defined is it's restricted by external parties. So there's some legal agreement, a grant agreement. It could be a bond indenture, right, that restricts the use of those proceeds. And what's out there right now are a couple of things. Our bond indenture says that every single month we have to set aside 1/6 of our next interest payment and 1/12 of our next principal payment on our revenue bonds. So that fluctuates. It depends on the month that you're looking at, but that'll fluctuate between $3 and maybe $12, $13 million, depending on the month. The biggest portion of this is we issued a new revenue bond issuance relatively recently, and so that delta there is the unspent bond proceeds. Those are restricted to capital projects. The committed piece right here. This is monies that we've set aside, so this is kind of our next level of restrictions. So this is the highest level of restriction that we've imposed internally. So there's been an official board decision or a resolution to earmark those funds, right? And what that is it's our capital reserves. We've been parking some ratepayer dollars over the last few years into a fund to fund the South Side project. It's going to reduce the amount that we're ultimately going to have to borrow. The next level of restrictions are things that they're not that highest level of decision-making authority here internally. They're management decisions or kind of informal board decisions. So there's monies out in our capital project funds. That aren't bond proceeds, that aren't those capital reserves, but there's other monies that are out there to fund our capital investments. And then we also inherited an OPEB liability from the city and the county both when we were formed, and there is a little bit of money that is out there that is used to pay those benefits to our retirees. Those benefits aren't, at least for now, once as long as there's funding out in this little fund right here, those benefits are not paid for out of our ratepayer funds on an ongoing basis. And so everything that's left over after those restrictions, that's our unassigned, right? So that's the assets minus liabilities that have no commitments, restrictions, or assignments. And that number currently is $44 million. Okay. That never works. This is that pie chart just spread out across time, is what this is. And it looks kind of scary. There's some fluctuations. Yeah, this went up a lot because we issued bonds, right? That restricted went up. This goes down every year, and you can see that, you know, going back here, we kind of play catch up on this green amount. That's because we transfer a piece out of our unassigned that's equal to our PAYGO funding, so our ratepayer funding for our capital program every year. We do that at the beginning of the year. So there's this kind of big decrease, and then we're kind of playing catch up. And we have this target here, this unassigned fund balance target number. It's historically been $50 million. And so when we end the year with an unassigned fund balance that's greater than that 50, then we have a surplus. If it's less, we have a deficit, okay? So we are currently here at this 44. I think we're in a good position, kind of similar to last year. I know it's probably hard to see, but you can see that green area, shaded area exceeded by the end of last year. That dotted line, that $50 million target, I think that we're in a similar position this year. Now, we have been talking about moving that target. Our policies say that we need to, in terms of our unassigned fund balance, our reserve policy, we need to come up with a risk-based and appropriate level of reserves that is attractive to the rating agencies and also is kind of customized to our unique operating dynamics, environment, that kind of thing. So the biggest driver that we've seen is, from a ratings agency standpoint, is this number is intimately tied. It's not directly looked at by the rating agencies, but it's intimately tied to a number that they are interested in, and that's the days cash on hand, okay? There's a ratio called days cash on hand, and really what it is you have your cash on hand in your numerator, and then you have a daily expense number in your denominator, and all it says is, okay, if you had no collections, no money coming in, how long could you sustain your operations without collecting anything, basically, right? And so this number here is very much tied to that. Now, over time, as expenses rise, a static $50 million target, or a target of any number, it doesn't really make sense anymore, right? So I've been talking about bringing a presentation to finance and to this board over the past several months, waiting on the audit opinion, and I assure you we will have that discussion at finance next month, okay? But looking at raising this target to something higher. Now, normally that would come out of ratepayer funds, right? In order to increase, right, to increase that level of our unassigned fund balance, it would have to come in from inflows exceeding our outflows, right? We have the opportunity through the consolidation and some of the monies transferring over from the town of Wrightsville Beach, and then also some settlement funds from 3M and just
other PFAS manufacturers.
Oh, thank you. That have become available to us this year, and I think that we are in a position to achieve that target, and I'm thinking about around $65 million would be appropriate, kind of like modeling it out into the future to move from 50 to 65 million, and I think that we can get there without it coming from rates, okay? So that's a lot, and that's just the first two slides. But yeah, I'll just kind of briefly walk through. We do show some information on actual versus budget in terms of our two main revenue sources, right? So we're about 85 to 90% funded through our retail rates. And this just shows some of those drivers there, kind of year to date, where we expect it to be and where we actually are. This is a look at kind of another major revenue source. This is our SDCs or SDFs, you'll hear them called. These are part of the cost that we were talking about earlier. When a new customer connects, they're basically paying in a buy-in fee, right? So they're benefiting from infrastructure that they haven't paid for, and this kind of catches them up, right? So this kind of shows kind of year to date the performance in those. This is our debt service coverage. This is another critical ratio that the rating agencies look at. And it basically just shows like how readily we are able to repay the principal and interest on our debt. A good target is about 1.8. The reason why it's so high at this 2.04 is because of those other sources that I was just talking about. We have received some of those settlement proceeds. We have received some, but not all of the monies that are going to be transferring over from Wrightsville Beach. And that's why you've seen this number get so high, I guess. Our debt to capitalization ratio, this is really like a self-imposed debt limit. Municipalities and counties are subject to a legal debt limit. Public utilities are not. And so this is just a policy number that we came up with when we did a kind of a really, really deep policy dive back in 2017. And so this is that debt limit. That debt limit is 45% of our total depreciated historical cost of our system. And so as the value of our system changes, so does our debt limit in terms of dollars. And that's that gray dotted line over time. And then the orange line and the blue line are the drivers of that number.
Before you leave that,
sure.
I know we promised break. Just to note that that's the appreciated value of your system. Replacement cost new is estimated to be about $6.5 billion.
Thank you. Yeah. So we're at about $930 million, but as Ken mentioned, if we had to replace it all today, it'd be about $6.5 billion. This just shows some information on our different series of revenue bonds, our SRF loans, how much is outstanding, how much has been paid to date, year to date. We have some information here about our investments. I mentioned last board meeting. We're kind of in a very good position in terms of the amount of loans and grants that we've received from the state and from the federal government, right? But all of those are on a reimbursement basis. And so that creates a short-term problem in terms of cash flow. And so what we have done in anticipation of Southside really starting to spin up and spend a lot of money, as well as others, we have basically suspended our active investing program. That doesn't mean that we're not earning a return. There is one mutual fund that the LGC has approved local governments in North Carolina to invest in. That is the North Carolina Capital Management Trust. And so, it's kind of broken out. All of these funds are in the NCCMT. This differentiation here is this is the unspent bond proceeds, and this is not unspent bond proceeds. These are other funds that are with the NCCMT. And this just represents the cash on hand. Normally, this is actually high for that cash on hand number. We probably caught it as of the end of the month, right before a pay run. We were paying capital invoices and payroll and stuff like that. It's normally a lot smaller than that, and I can show you this basically this chart right here. And I don't really like the way it's laid out, but really what it shows you. What 100% would mean is that all of the funds we have on hand are earning a return. That line shows you what that number actually is. So it's very, very close. It's generally always above 95%. So we're very diligent about not having idle funds sit there and not earn a return. That's what that shows you there. Sure.
Do you have commercial paper? About what percentage do you have?
We can invest in commercial paper. We don't currently have any commercial paper. I think our last commercial paper matured, about a year ago, I would say. Yeah, we've kind of just been like ramping down that active, investment program. But that's one of the options we have. We can invest in North Carolina munis. Generally, we don't do that because the return on munis are lower. Treasuries, agencies like Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, those types of things, and then AAA rated commercial paper, right? And I think that's it. I'm probably missing one or two, but it's very high, high grade, low risk type of things, and that's all in statute. This just shows, kind of like the benefit of our active investing. If we did nothing, it would be the NCCMT. Our active investing is kind of like, our total portfolio is this blue line. We generally like to see that the blue line above the orange, but I just said that we've suspended that investment program. So these lines will eventually be exactly the same. Okay, so that's that. This is just some budget to actual info. This I should probably mention on PFAS. This is June 17. You can see June 17. So event to date. The interest on our debt service, legal, some of these other things. We had talked about the gap replacement, the filters. This is what we've spent to date on those filters. So Craig mentioned about $4.5 million a year, right? So, and that cost has gone up over time. That's a cumulative number since June of 2017. This is some information.
John, before you move on, who pays the $87 million? Where does that come from?
It's our customers.
Ratepayers.
Yep, ratepayers.
All the ratepayers. We've been handling that alone. $87 million on PFAS. Thank you.
Some information on the Riceville Beach consolidation. There's several projects. This just has some of that information there. And then these are just some things that we're required to disclose in terms of transfers among budget lines, some purchase contracts, some change orders, gov deals, so that's sales of our vehicles and other equipment, and released easements, which there were none in November. And that's kind of just a long brief overview.
Thanks, John.
Any questions?
Some good info
Okay,
in there.
thank you. Thank you, John. And that was a brief report from John. Before we go, we have two action items on the finance, but are there any questions about the minutes from the finance meeting? Hearing none. First item is a award of a construction contract to Carolina Civil Works for $11,780,555 for the River Road Booster Pump Station and Waterline Interconnect. I'd just like to offer a couple of things that we're really beginning to see more activity in getting contractor bids. This particular project had 6 bidders. Sometimes, as you've seen on some other contracts, we've had 1, maybe 2 bidders. The other thing to point out is that although the range of the bidders is like 26% from lowest to highest, if you look at the 2 low bidders, there's only a $200,000 difference between the low bid and the next bid. So I think we got some good bids on this project. The other thing I'd like to point out to you is that normally we come in and show the engineer's estimate of construction cost as being one number and then the actual bid cost being above this. This particular bid is 31% below the engineer's estimate. So I think that should have a drum roll here for us, and hopefully it's a sign of things to come. Is there a motion to approve or any further discussion?
Is this being funded out of PAYGO or debt proceeds, or bond proceeds? Bond, okay.
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The next action item is for the amendment number 3, this is for the, under the engineering contract with CDM Smith, who are the designers of this project. And this is for the construction phase services, including resident project representative services. Any questions, comments, motion?
Move approval.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Smith. Move on to Sustainability Committee, Dr. Cannon. Human Resource Committee is next. Mr. Miller?
I think that's on.
It's on.
Green means on. All right. Let's see, the HR committee met on November 12th. The minutes should be in your packet. We reviewed the semi-annual human resources policy updates to be effective January 1, 2026 that I think we covered earlier with the one exception. And we also discussed state health plan changes for 2026 and a recommendation to support employees with additional costs. We'd like the board to hear the recommendation and consider taking a vote. And I don't have to call because she's coming. Thank you. Lori will update us.
Yes, thank you. So CFPUA has been a member of the state health plan for employee benefits since 2016. We became aware earlier this year that the state health plan is facing a significant $500 million deficit on that plan. So the state health plan has been working to close that gap in a number of different ways. Most of them are changes that are going to come into effect in 2026. So things like changing provider contracts, bundling services. They have also changed the design of both plans for next year, and they have also increased rates on both the employee and the employer side for 2026. So our employees will see higher out-of-pocket expenditures as well as higher premium rates for next year. The board has already approved our rates for 2026 and very generously continued to cover anywhere from 75% to 90% of the premium rates for our employees. It's going to, for CFPUA's side, increase our annual expenses by about $100,000 per year. So just about $3.1 million to cover our health insurance benefits for our employees for 2026. So the HR committee also asked our leadership team to go back and look to see if there was a way that we could offset additionally any of those increased premiums that our employees may see for next year. So we came back to the November HR committee meeting with a recommendation that we would provide a one-time payment to employees equal to 1/2 of the annual increase in their premiums. So it would be a one-time payment to employees in January. What this would do is it would help our employees a little bit with the offset to help them with the increased premiums that they are going to experience. And then it would also allow CFPUA on our side to a little more time to consider. We weren't given a very large window of time to kind of consider these changes, but to consider how we might incorporate and what we might do as part of our planning cycle for the next budget fiscal year. So it advises us a little more time. So giving a one-time payment also helps us kind of maintain the integrity of our compensation structure. So those were the reasons for recommending kind of that one-time payment. So the HR committee did vote to support that recommendation, but also wanted to bring it forward to the full board for discussion and just confirmation to appropriate thing to do, which is why we're here for you today. I do want to note, as before I open up for questions, that those of you, I know Ken has been doing a lot of work in informing you, and we're keeping an eye on what was House Bill 125, which came to us a little unexpectedly. It's an interpretation to that bill that would have required us to pay an additional 2.4% of our payroll into what's kind of it's called a public benefit fund, but ultimately it would help close the gap. Through work through our NC League of Municipalities, as well as Ken and other leaders, were successful in getting that 2.4% premium waived for this fiscal year. What we don't know and what we are watching is what will happen July 1 for fiscal year 27. Should we have to pay that, we're looking at about a $600,000 additional funding requirement for us. So just wanted to share that with you to say, just kind of keep it in the back of your minds. We'll continue to watch that and keep you informed as things kind of develop on that end.
And I can share that working with the Association of County Commissioners and the League of Municipalities, we believe that we will need to budget for that $600,000. It will be required of us next year unless something extraordinary happens in the short session. So we're starting out $600,000 in the hole in terms of pay and benefits for next year's budget.
The one-time payment will cost an estimated about $143,000 to pay out that one-time benefit.
So we'd ask for a motion to affirm that expenditure.
Could we have a bit of discussion, a little bit? So for context, we've known since the new treasurer came on board as far back as I've just been doing a bit of research because this is just such a blindsided item. We found out basically a month before we were about to effectively give most of our employees a pay cut that we would be having to do this. And they've been discussing it at the state level since at least January. And I know that the acting board did not push out the new formulas until August. But I think it would have behooved us to start discussing this way before we did. And now we know, and we're going to do it for next year. Some additional context is that the health plan essentially had its hands tied because of the way the legislature structures the cost sharing and the reimbursement. Costs have been going up and funding hasn't been coming in. So we knew this was coming for a while. My question today is, knowing what we know now, and in other states this doesn't happen. In a lot of places, the state does a reconciliation fund and they kick in the funding so that their teachers and their municipal workers don't face ever increasing cost premium. My questions today are, number one, I think we've done some market research and we're getting a pretty good bang for our buck going with the state plan. And I know we're obligated to them as of right now. But if there were other alternatives, I'd like to explore those. And are we going to work with our lobbyists to either get ourselves backed out of the state plan, number one, or work with our lobbyists to ask the legislature to put together some sort of a stabilization fund?
Sure.
Because this is a problem that's accruing and accruing and accruing. And again, neighboring states, mostly to our north, don't have this problem. So those are my two questions.
So I'll work those backwards. The answer is yes, we'll work with the lobbyist. And to acknowledge that the state benefit plan is a more robust, I'll use the term generous plan than most local governments have access to today. So it provides much greater coverage at a lower cost than the plans offered to our peers at the county or the city right now. So we need to communicate to our staff more effectively how well they have received these benefits. These are premium benefits. And this board has gone beyond that to offer to cover between 75 and 90% of the costs that would otherwise be imposed upon part of the staff. So our benefits package is one of probably the best in the region. And we don't do a good enough job, I'll take blame for that, of communicating that to staff. And of course, we want staff, that's a recruitment tool. It's a great recruitment tool. So we want to maintain that to the extent we can afford it. And we will be lobbying to look for some kind of stabilization fund. I don't have a whole lot of confidence that that's going to be a reality in this economic environment, but we're going to try. And question number one, I apologize since I was so focused on question two. Question number one, Dr. Cannon, was?
Are we not only looking to, so we don't want to back out? We've looked for better access, and this is our best bet.
We honestly, well, tomorrow may change, but what's available today on the market at cost is an inferior product to what we receive today.
And if I may, okay.
I'm sorry. According to North Carolina statute, chapter 135, article 3B, once we are in the state health plan, unless the legislature opens up a window for us to come out of the state health plan, we are in the state health plan.
That's what I meant by lobbying, but yeah.
And Commissioner Scalise, this is part of your day job So I believe you could offer some perspective on the benefits and the costs.
Just what I've offered previously, it's a robust plan at a lower cost than what I see in almost any employer group that I represent in my personal capacity. It doesn't mean that I want to make things more expensive for our employees. I like to encourage any group that I represent to spend as much as they can on providing a robust benefit suite to their employees. But for purely comparative purposes, this is a robust plan at a lower cost than you see with the average employer and more than the average employer. This is an industry leader.
Which we thank you for. We thank you for letting us lead the industry in this.
Mr. Chair, I have a quick question for Lori. Are all 100% of our employees on this health plan?
The majority are. We have 10 or so that do not elect the state health plan, but the majority do, yes.
What is the conversation around those? Because the way I read this, the benefit that we're offering, this extra cash to help them pay, will only go to those who have the health plan. Is there any discussion around those that don't?
No.
None, okay.
This is a stabilization fund of our own for the people that are going to be hit the hardest out of the blue. They literally just found out about this. And like I said, it's essentially a pay cut. So for the people that aren't getting a pay cut.
Well,
And this was a look in the couch cushions kind of experience for us. So.
No, I get you. I just, have we had any pushback from those? We haven't rolled this out to the employees yet.
No, we're waiting for board confirmation and action at the table to confirm that this is an expenditure you will authorize.
So a question on the actual expenditure, is this a taxed bonus, and are we making the payout, like, are we grossing it up so that the taxes out equal what they're paying, or are we just giving them it's going to be taxed on what we give them, and therefore it's going to be not quite?
That's correct. We are not grossing this up, not grossing it up.
So to put in context.
Well, I mean, it's going to be taxed as a bonus, right, which is a higher tax rate than their normal pay rate. And so it's in effect, if you gross it up.
Gross it up.
We could offer more than what we have, but
You gross it up so that so once taxes come out, what they get is actually 50% of what they have to pay.
And you were just asking which way we're doing it.
Yeah, and so it sounds like we're not grossing it up, so they're going to get a lesser amount. And should we gross it up? If we gross it up, I mean, I can't imagine doesn't double it, right?
30%.
Yeah, 30% probably.
Yeah, and what we do is I think we apply, like, when we grossed up in the past on other things, we've applied like a 30, we grossed it up by like 30% to kind of cover that full range. So that would add another 30% to this
143,000.
43.
And we had a conversation in-house, and with all the things going on with the budget, we would like to be able to offer that, and I believe we can find it, but we couldn't quite bring ourselves as staff to bring that to you as a recommendation with everything going on. But we can find that funding, and we could gross it up if that is your call.
During when you did your outreach to board members, I think one of the options, one I was proponent of, was doing a reduction of doing it on the expense side instead of doing a bonus side. So in other words, it would be a reduction of the increase on their expenses. But the answer I heard was it's very hard to do that on the IT side. But that would have solved it, because the tax thing was the first thing that came to my mind as well, and that was my idea to have a solution, but the understanding was it would be burdensome on the IT staff and payroll staff to do the other option.
It's effectively prohibitive because of the complexity of the payment system that we'd have to modify and then remodify back.
But grossing it up would not be prohibited.
No, we could absolutely do that.
And you're saying that we can find the money? We can. Well, I'm in favor of it then.
But it's also different for each person, correct?
Right, so we're only going to be able to kind of give a general gross up. We won't be able to customize it.
Well, the idea, though, is to mitigate it to the maximum extent possible, which I think we have unanimously said that we want to do.
So do we need to move that?
I move it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I just had one comment while we got Lori here. Has there been any discussion about moving to a self-financing benefit system? I recognize that would be the nuclear option in here, but I know we've done that at the county. So
The answer is yes, and beyond the complexities of leaving the system, we're a strong, large system, but we're just not quite large enough. The county system is 2.5 times larger, so.
2,200 employees. Yeah.
Right, and a $500 million budget, we're $130 million budget. So we just don't quite have the resources, plus the demand that we shared with you, that you have on your undesignated reserve. We just don't think that we can do that at this time.
Okay, thank you.
Too bad we can't tap into the city or the county and combine forces. No. This isn't my bailiwick, but it's a worse plan. We don't want to touch it. Stick with ours.
And unfortunately, we learned that we couldn't offer you the same benefits. That was one question that came up, is could we offer our board members an opportunity? And the review answer was no, that we can't. Our partners, the city and county, can, but we can't. Thank you for your patience.
Move the item.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're,
Second, we need a vote.
yeah, we did. All in favor?
Aye. Yeah, we voted.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, all good. All right, that concludes Human Resource Committee. Any old business, any closing comments?
As far as closed session, in respect of everyone's time, I've just had 2 quick bulleted items that are fine to be moved to next month's meeting, so we will go ahead and do that in respect of all of your time.
So with that said, we'll take a motion to adjourn. All in favor? Thank you. I
Thank you,
appreciate it.
everybody. Welcome to the new members.